At today's video, I'm just going to sit down at my couch and relax because we are going to print this STLFLIX module to our couch. I'm gonna teach you how I customized with this fuzzy skin effect and also some top layer patterns. So if you wanted to customize yours, stay tuned and let's go to the video. Let's begin with the new module I am adding today because I started with only one and now I am expanding to two. I am in love with this project. It totally solved my last weekend at home. So let me show you what I have in here. I have been gaming a lot. I have a PS5, also I have obviously a TV, and the TV remote is super thin. I kept losing it in the sofa gaps. The same thing happened with my phone, which I use all the time in here because of the social media that I have to follow. When I'm in the living room, scrolling Instagram or ordering food, for example, I always need it close to me. These two, the phone and the TV remote, were always disappearing into the couch. The PlayStation controller didn't have a home either, and this one is still rolling off the armrest every time. Now, with the module, the PS5 controller stays right here, ready to go. I just sit down, hit the power button, and the console and the TV turn on automatically. About the TV remote, now has its own spot too. I just grab it, and when I'm done of the gaming night, I lay it down carefully so it doesn't fall and get damaged. And the phone, totally a game changer. Now I can sit here, play, keep an eye on my DoorDash, for example, or any notifications when I want to. And if you don't want any distractions, I just need to flip it over backwards. And when I am looking at it, the angle is perfect. It's right aligned when I am sitting down looking at the phone. It worked so well that I decided to expand the setup. And now I have a Nintendo Switch 2. Its controller fits in the same module. It's pretty cool and totally unexpected, I have to confess. At the weekends now, for example, I go from PS5 to Switch easily depending on my mood. But sometimes I want to keep both controllers handy, like when I'm watching a TV show, for example, or switching between the games. And now let's talk about something serious. I'm not a big fan of eating or drinking on my couch. It's too risky. But if I'm going to do it, better to have a proper cup holder to minimize accidents. That's why the next module will have a cup holder and a space for another controller after using the first one during the weekend. I went ahead and printed these new modules, and the great thing about it, they are modular and snap together. So I am installing the new cup holder and a little stand to rest things like the controller, my headphones, or even keys. Another awesome part is that the reassembly is really quick and the new module setup is now complete. We have officially expanded our sofa organizer. And remember the pattern you see here on the surface walls? I made it in the slicer using Hilbert curves and mixing with fuzzy skin in some parts. So I'm going to show you on the slicer how I did it, because this 3D printing effect look is different from the usual we are used to. That's why I did it, to differentiate from the other 3D prints that I have at my apartment. So if you want to see how I did it, let's go to the slicer. Alright guys, Creality print on the screen. Let me select the files. First of all, we need to change the fuzzy skin option to enable. We are going to put the contour one, just this. And now we are going to select the files. Let me put in here the joystick holder, phone holder, and tray 10x20. Remember to put no by multiple parts because we need to organize them first. And now we are going to right click with your mouse on the build plate and then select arrange. And now their files are almost organized. Let me just change this position a little bit. Let me select all of them, centralize, and that's okay. Now what we need to do is to make them as a assemble, because I'm going to show you what is going to happen if you don't. We are going to enable a modifier here like this. You can right click with your mouse on the module and then add a modifier, a cube, and I'm going to put in the entire build plate like this, and I'm going to do a changing here, none. So we are going to select the object, and then in the Objects tab, we are going to select No Fuzzy Skin, because we don't want the texture going on the fitting parts, because they need to have tolerance. We need them to be exactly as the designer team from STLFLIX projected to be, all right? So we are going to use the texture, the fuzzy skin effect, only in the upper parts. Down here, we want to modify. So we are going to use this modifier. I'm going to position this right at the top layer, like this. All right, this is the position. Now we don't have fuzzy skin here. Let's slice it and take a look. Now it worked, but only in this model specifically. So we have exactly the effect that we wanted, but in the others we don't, because the modifier is only being applied on this one. In order to make it work in everyone, we need to make them as a assemble. So let's click on this model, and then you can press your Control button on your keyboard, and then we are going to select different models, and then we can right click them and select assemble. And now all of them are the same part. And now we are going to slice again, and as you can see, we have the fuzzy skin effect in the upper part, and we still have the tolerance being respected on the bottom part in here of the project. All right, so that's the first tip from our tutorial. And now I have another tip for you guys. This is just a aesthetic one. It's just if you like the style that I used, because in the top surface, I prefer to use Hilbert curves to match with this texture on the walls. I also like to be more rough on the top layer. So we are going to use Hilbert curves, and then we will have similar effects in all parts of the model. In my case, the result will be something like this, but remember, you can always play around with different styles, different top surface patterns. And now, the last tip, and maybe the most important one, I don't know. We are going to talk about supports. Remember, the original project from STLFLIX has press supports. So if you like to use in this way, and if you use regular nozzle sizes, it's going to work just fine. I prefer to configure my supports myself. All right, so I use the option with no supports because I like to put them at the slicer, and I'm going to share with you my settings. Okay, so in the supports, first thing we are going to do is to insert the flexible part from the project, the flexible mat. We are going to put this in the other build plate in here. And now we are going to paint the supports. And if you are using Creality Print and it's not working, the painting support, maybe all you need to do is just to enable supports. In my case, just work, but sometimes this doesn't work, all right? But remember, in your case, if it happens, just enable supports, and then you'll be able to paint. And now let's select our models, entire assembly like this, and then you can paint the supports. Let's click like this. I'm using the tool from painting supports with the fill tool. Okay, and I think I did everyone. My settings are this. We are going to enable the supports, and we are going to use the supports normal manual type. Okay, remember, if you use automatic, we are going to slice it, and you will have supports inside a part that we actually don't need. This is supposed to be a bridge. Another thing that I remember, if you are going to slice the build plate in the same settings that you are slicing those guys, remember to select in here, and then we are going to Objects, and then disable the fuzzy skin on the flexible mat, because we want the same precision that we have in the other ones, okay? And now let's continue with our support settings. We are going to enable supports, normal, manual. We are going to change in here 0.2 Z distance is a okay distance. I always like to use more interface layers, so we are going to use 5 interface layers in here. This provides us a better finishing at the last support layer. And the top interface spacing, I'm going to use 0, okay? And then we have in here support object XY distance. We are going to put this one 0.6 to be further away from the print and also to be easier to remove. Those settings are the ones that I used to change. For this project, are going to work just fine for yours. Now let's slice it again, and you will find something similar to this, and it will be super easy to remove, and we are going to let you with a awesome finish on this part, okay? Those are the changes that I made for mine. Remember, you can always play around with top surface patterns. The surface pattern that I used on mine was Hilbert curves, as I said to you. So remember to use if you want, and I hope you guys enjoyed those tips. That was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and was a little bit of my intimacy, let's say, in this way, and I hope it inspire you to print yours on your house. And don't forget to tag us on social media if you do. See you in the next one. As Bruno always says, happy printing.